Are there?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Actually, today we will discuss about. I think we discussed half of the ankle fractures. No, last class. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today we will complete that ankle fractures. So in that this slide showing the one which is showing is one second. The full slide at how to make this full slide. I want to reduce it. Then you reduce it. Full slide. Okay. Yes. So we are in the half of the ankle fracture. So today we discuss about some other fractures in the ankle. So that is one is a Massenet fracture. Did you hear this one already? So this actually the fracture the proximal half of the fibula due to strong eversion forces. The more proximal the fracture, more unstable the joint. Because the ankle fracture associated with proximal half of the fibula fracture. That is Massenet fracture. Next one is the Tilak's fracture. Just you need to remember the names and just what is that fracture. That's all. Tilak's fracture is it is a lateral margin avulsion of the distal tibia. See here in this X-ray, you can see this lateral margin of the distal tibia is avulsed. This portion. So this is called Tilak's fracture. So this one is mainly due to abduction and as well as axial rotation forces acting. Typically, it occurs in adolescents after medial epiphyseal plate closures. I mean, 18 months. So this is a triplane fracture. Triplane fracture, three types of fractures are there. There is a vertical fracture as well as horizontal fracture and oblique fracture. There is a oblique fracture through the metaphysis, horizontal fracture through the physis, and vertical fracture through the diaphysis. This is the triplane fracture. You can see in this radiograph very clearly. And pylon fracture, which is one of the most common and complicated fractures. The main mechanism of injury is due to fall from height. Is a high velocity injury in which most of the times the fracture is associated with the dislocation of the ankle. So this is called pylon fracture. See here, you see the fracture, the distal and the tibia is so communicated as well as the involvement of the joint. So it is extended into the joint, intra-articular. Pylon fractures are most of the pylon fractures are intra-articular only. So see, this is also lateral view of the pylon fracture. Mainly mechanism is the axial load due to fall from height or some other injury. So in this we need to take many other X-rays also. What else? X-ray of the foot, X-ray of the pelvis, X-ray of the spine, as well as CT scan. All these are required because the most common mechanism is fall from height. Next, the next one is the trimalleolar fracture. This is a fracture of the malleoli. I think you must be knowing that there is a third malleolus also will be there for the tibia, distal and tibia. What are the malleoli? You know? Tell me. What are the malleoli? You know? Anyone?
Medial and lateral malleoli, sir.
Medial and lateral malleolus, which are commonly seen in epiview. And also in lateral view, you can see the posterior malleolus. This is the posterior malleolus. It is a fracture of medial malleolus, lateral malleolus, and posterior malleolus. That is called trimalleolar fracture. So this is caused by mainly talar eversion and posterior displacement, also known as Henderson fracture. This is also called as Henderson fracture. So bimalleolar, trimalleolar mainly involve the medial and lateral malleoli and posterior malleoli. Mainly we need to apply first initial splint and also you have to manage the pain, then need to speak to ortho. So these are the one type of common mechanism for tri and bimalleolar fractures. And so clinically you need to evaluate its history, mechanism of injury, time, and you have to check whether soft tissue injury is present. Bone quality also very important, because for every fracture bone quality is important, which is mainly dependent on especially age of the patient and metabolic conditions of the patient. And associated comorbidity conditions, all those things must be. Skin, vessels, nerves, all are important. Why? Because the skin, vessels, nerves, all are important in this case. Why? Because if there may be open fracture, then pain, deformity. So evaluation, radiographic evaluation must be done. Anteroposterior view is an example of an AP view in which the you can see the middle malleolus, lateral malleolus, as well as this ankle joint line. Then, so normally I told you the tibiofibular overlap is 10 mm, tibiofibular clear space is less than 5 mm, and there will be a talar tilt in this finding. See, this will tell you the whether talus is tilted or not. So next, Mortise view. Mortise view is a little 15 degrees of internal rotation of the fifth metatarsal with respect to vertical line. So then we take like oblique, small oblique view. That is called Mortise view. Mortise view will be like this, and so how to evaluate the Mortise view? So you can see the middle joint space and talocrural angle and tibiofibular overlap. These things. So now lateral view. This is one of the most important radiograph, lateral view. You can see the talar subluxation and distal fibular translation, whether fibula is translated anteriorly or posteriorly, and angulation and syndesmotic relationship, whether both the tibia and fibula are parallel to each other or not. So that syndesmosis may be altered. And associated injuries like a lateral process of talus and posterior process of talus, all these things must be evaluated. Then stress views. Stress views include gravity and manual use, and if as it is an intra-articular fracture, sometimes we need to go for, but especially for trimalleolar fractures, we need to go for CT scan to know the articular involvement, to know the posterior malleolar status, MRI also, because to know the ligament and tendon injuries, talar dome injuries. So this is a view. See, there is involvement of intra-articular region, talar dome. So evaluation must be done clinical as well as radiographic. Both must be correlated, and classification is Lag-Hansen classification, which is very important. So Lag-Hansen classification mainly with different types, based on different types of mechanism, Lag-Hansen classification has been done. So that is, you can remember mechanism of injuries. One is the pronation abduction, you come from down. One is the pronation abduction, next the pronation external rotation, next supination adduction, then supination external rotation. So if you remember this as a mnemonic, you can remember as paper saucer. Paper saucer. So it's very easy to remember like this. So if you see supination external rotation, this is a supination external rotation injury in which the deltoid ligament will be ruptured and the fibula fracture happens. Anterior tibial ligament will be ruptured, and posterior tibial ligament will be ruptured. This is the supination rotation injury. Next, supination axial rotation. This is one type of example for supination axial rotation injury. Just remember the name and mechanism of injuries like pronation abduction, supination adduction, and pronation axial rotation, supination axial rotation. These four. This is supination adduction. Later, in next semester, you will come to know very easily. Hmm. Then this is the supination adduction. Then this is the pronation axial rotation. So I think mechanism of injuries and all, just remember the name, just mechanism. But no need to go to very deep. This at your level. This is the pronation axial rotation injury, in which there is a displacement of the tibia distally as well as fracture of the tibia also, both. So pronation axial rotation, you need to take a tibia radiograph, and usually we expect syndesmotic disruption, and the goal is mainly to restore the fibular length and ankle motives and syndesmotic stability. So this is how we can manage by fixing like this. So pronation abduction. Next one. So this is a pronation abduction injury. So like there is a pronation abduction, which is lateral and medial malleolar fractured, in which is dealt with 1/3 tubular plate as well as malleolar screws. So this is a CT scan of pronation abduction injury. So like this, you need to remember pronation abduction, pronation external rotation, supination external rotation, and supination adduction. So paper, saucer. Remember like this. And diagram. So posterior malleolar fracture, how to evaluate? Radiographic evaluation. Fracture pattern is very important, and external rotation lateral view must be done. CT scan must be done. So this is an example of a CT scan for this one, like a posterior malleolar fracture. So posterior malleolar fracture you need to fix with a screw, at least minimum, and sometimes plate. So this is a syndesmotic injury. The shaded diagonal line is a box is a syndesmotic area in which there is a rupture, widening of the syndesmotic space, which is called a syndesmotic injury. This one. So syndesmosis, if instability is present, then we need to go for operative intervention. If no instability, you can go for fast application, Ebonics. So syndesmotic injury operation will be done like this. So surgical goals, mainly the surgical goal. What is the goal for doing surgery in ankle injuries is especially to rapid recovery of the injured limb and anatomic reduction of the fracture fragments, particularly in joint area, because joint area fracture will always cause so many complications, and you need to do stable internal fixation and preservation of the vascularity, because if you don't preserve the vascularity of the talus, it will go into vascular necrosis. So like that. Okay. So you need to check outcome: 3 months X-ray, 6 months X-ray, and 1 year X-ray followed by. So that outcome depends on so many factors: type of injury, geometry of the fracture, type of management, and the patient bone condition and patient habits, alcoholism, smoking, which delay the bone healing, all those things. So Coming to the fracture, ankle fracture complication. Can you tell a few ankle fracture classification complications? Anyone? Can you answer? Ankle fractures complications. Anyone? You don't know ankle fracture classification complications? Minimum, single, one or two. So coming to acute complications, it is one is skin necrosis, another one is a neurovascular injury, another one is a compartment syndrome, next one is a formation of blisters and wound infection. The chronic one is malunion, non-union, post-traumatic arthritis, AVN means avascular necrosis. Usually talus will undergo into avascular necrosis, chronic pain and chronic instability. So diabetic ankle fractures are also problematic. So for you no need. This classification, Salter-Harris classification, especially in children, is very important. So children always metaphaseal and epiphaseal fractures are classified by this using this Salter-Harris classification. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So what are you following?
Salter-Harris classification, sir, for children.
Okay, in children especially. So I think other people are sleeping or just left mute. They are not able to answer, even not able to hear my voice also. Just I am cross-checking here the numbers which are present and which are left, all these things. So the Salter-Harris classification growth plate injury includes mainly especially type 1, 2, 3, 4. Type 1, there is straight fracture of the epiphysis. And type 2, the fracture will extend into the metaphysis like this. So there is a formation of spike. See, this is a spike. And type 3, there is a fracture of the lower epiphysis vertically extended again horizontally. And type 4, this fracture line extends through physis and metaphysis both. Type 5, ram crush like injury. So if crush, what happens? So here mainly the growth plate will be damaged. If crush, mainly this growth plate structure will be damaged in this area. This is the Salter-Harris classification. Everyone must remember this Salter-Harris classification along with the diagrams, and you have to explain, because this is a most important long question for you people. So especially in type 1 and 2, usually we do non-operative management, this and this, cost application. So we try to do close reduction, which can accept more angulation, and a long leg cast for 3 weeks, followed by short leg cast for 3 weeks. And Salter-Harris 3 or 4, open reduction. Salter-Harris 5, which is a compression fracture. Wrang leg fracture means compression. So definitely the prognosis is very poor because growth plate will be disturbed and very difficult to restore the growth plate. So complication for the Salter-Harris 3 to 5 include mainly growth plate arrest, which plays an important role in elongation of the bone, which will not happen due to this injury, and finally limb length discrepancy will happen. This is so. Anyway, type 3. This is type 3, and type 4 is very complicated, and 5 is totally fully complicated because the growth plate itself is crushed. Nothing can be used to fix. So already if it is once crushed means. So this is about ankle injuries. So I think we have done elaborative lecture in ankle injuries. So I hope you people have read. Hmm? So, um, so what are the ankle injuries? Now you tell people. You people please answer. What are the complications of ankle injuries? Tell me now. What are the complications of ankle injuries?
Nuclear skin necrosis,
Okay,
compartment syndrome,
okay,
blisters,
okay,
wound infections,
okay.
chronic non-union,
Yeah,
avascular necrosis,
okay.
chronic pain and chronic instability,
Very good, very good. So,
and post-traumatic arthritis.
yeah, nice. This is the most important complication, post-traumatic arthritis. So you people have to remember all these things. Some of you are following very good, and so some of you are not following. Hmm. So this is about the ankle injuries. And another question is, what do you mean by trimalleolar fracture? Tell me.
Fracture of medial malleolus, lateral malleolus, and posterior malleolus, sir.
Okay, there is another name for that. I told you. What is that?
Henderson fracture.
Certain fracture. So, okay. So if there is a displaced lateral and medial malleolar fracture, how do you manage in adults? Displaced lateral as well as medial. How do you treat in adults? Tell. So we treat with the surgery. So lateral malleolus must be fixed and medial malleolus must be fixed. If it is a fracture above the syndesmosis or below the syndesmosis is very important. If the fracture is little above, you have to go for plate. If the fracture is exactly at the tip of the lateral malleolus, then you have to go for cannulated screws. For medial malleolus, no problem, no doubt, we have to go for cannulated malleolar screws. Then anyway, next, what else? So read ankle sprain also. Have you read ankle sprain? Not yet. Mm, okay. Anyway, so you people read ankle injuries. Next class we will start another topic. Okay. All of you are following.